Hi, I'm Tim Somerville.
And I'm Michael Dempsey, welcoming you to Off the Market with Team Somerville.
Episode 3.
Episode 3, and you know what? We got a good episode coming up.
Oh, I think so.
Yeah, I think so too. We're going to start off with, of course, welcoming you all. Again, special thanks to our producer. Our music brought to you by Anthony Trim. And we're just going to get right into it today.
Let's do it.
Let's talk about tenants' rights. We see it a lot.
Yes.
So a lot of people don't understand, what are your rights as a tenant?
Well, early in my career, we used to be able to call the rentalsman 658-2512. You can see I called it enough to still remember the number.
1-800.
That's right. Now it is a 1-800.
Oh, is it? Oh,
Yeah.
He's got to memorize.
No. The big thing about the tenants is the fact that they have to remember that when going into an apartment, they really should have a lease signed. And if they don't have that lease signed, there could be some expectations on their behalf that are not being met. But we will tell you that's the same on the landlord side as well.
You bring up a good point, because as a tenant, you have the right to have a copy of that signed lease. A lot of tenants just think, oh, they sign it and they're done, but you have a right to keep one on file. So that, I mean, if there's rules and regulations, you want to make sure that you're upholding them, and things like that. So that's a very good point.
Now, when it comes to, though, tenants' rights, we have to remember that when you're looking at your apartment, it's best that when you go in that you take pictures when you move in. That way, again, you have everything more or less on a on file,
record.
on record,
Yeah.
on record. And that way, when you do move out, you can always refer back to that. Another thing that you need to do when you go in as well is always make sure that the information on the lease is updated. So if you do change your number, if the rent changes and so forth, we want to make sure that your lease, of course, is up to date. Many people don't realize that leases don't always just continue from one year to another. Some of them will end, and you could lose the possibility of staying in that apartment for a period of time after
right.
the lease.
I mean, the onus is on both the landlord to make sure, hey, I've got a good tenant. I want to make sure I get that lease renewed. And of course, on the tenant as well. Like, I'm sure you don't want to move. So
That's right.
as you get closer to those that term date, get in contact with the landlord, make sure all's good. Let's get signed up
Sure.
and kind of go from there.
Well, there are really only 3 ways that a tenant can be evicted from an apartment.
I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah, that was another little thing I want to talk about. So yeah, so 3 ways. What are they?
Yeah, well, one way, of course, is if the landlord himself or herself or the family is moving into that apartment. So one way is, again, that the landlord is moving in. Second way is, do you want to say one, or do you want me to keep going?
I would say major renovations.
Right. So major renovations, but this one now is a little bit more concrete. You need to come in with, of course, quotes and so forth. And again, if they're not done, the tenant does have the right to go back to the tribunal through the rentalsman and provide information that may hurt the landlord for not being honest on those renovations.
Which brings us to a term that kind of got its way around during the beginning of COVID, called renoviction.
Yes.
You want to clarify what that meant?
Well, again, at the end of the day, people were stating that renovations were being done just to give the eviction, and then somebody was to go in and they changed a light bulb. At the end of the day, true renovations were not being done to the unit.
But in actuality, it was probably they wanted more
More
dinero.
That's right.
Yeah, so that's painful to see, that has happened in the past.
Yeah.
And like Tim said, it's important to know you have rights and
That's right.
to follow up.
Yes.
We've heard of a scenario in Nova Scotia, very close to us, where they stated they were going to tear down the building and make a brand new building. And then come to find out, while the building's still standing, they were never zoned to build a bigger unit.
That's right.
And so these people were put out, hopefully not on the streets, but, again, these are like 1 in a million scenarios. But they certainly happen.
Now, there was a third way, and that is known as change of use.
That's right.
So change of use occurs when, say, by any chance, it's an apartment now, but you're going to go to an Airbnb.
Very popular. See more of it.
That's right. Could be commercial. If the actual usage of the apartment is changing, then, of course, notice has to be given. Now, notice has been changed though. And
Yes.
so when we look at how notice has to be given, it used to be, especially if you weren't on a lease and if you were there for less than 5 years, 30 days from the beginning of a month, right? And you had 1 month's notice to get out. That has changed. And so, again, you can always read up in Service New Brunswick, which will actually give you more information on rights and eviction policies and so forth.
I checked this morning. So if you just Google tenants rights, New Brunswick, it'll take you up to the important sites that you need to know. And we're still on a bit of a tiered system where if somebody has lived in the apartment only for a short term, they would only require X amount of notice.
Correct.
Whereas a long-term tenant, 5 years plus been there, they require a significant amount of notice. Let's talk increases.
Yes.
Yeah.
So an increased rent can only happen once every 12 months.
That's right. Important you said that. 12 months, not calendar year,
12
every 12 months.
And the big thing is if there is no lease signed, 6 months notice has to be given.
That's right. And again, we're talking about long-term tenants.
Now, if a lease is signed, notice can be given prior to the lease expiring. And I'm quite certain is it 60 days? I believe it's 60 days. And so at the end of the day, if you are in a lease, notice can be given prior to the lease expiring for the rent increase. But what you have to keep in mind is that again, that like you said, it's not a calendar year.
No.
Rent can only go up once every 12 months.
Now, we also have a rent cap currently.
That's right.
And what percentage is that?
3%.
3%.
Yeah. Now,
Not a whole lot, which
But-
is great for the tenant,
yeah.
you know.
This hurts though.
Yeah.
Yeah, this hurts because fair market value is very important. And many tenants out there are in apartments, and I understand at affordable rates, but there has to be understanding that the landlord has to be able to at least pay their bills. And with the cost of water slash sewer, right now $1,428 a year per unit. If you have more than 2 units, then you can be on a meter, which again brings that cost down. But your home insurance, property insurance,
I was going to say,
yeah,
property insurance has gone up,
taxes,
taxes.
yes,
So even as a landlord, let's say your expenses went up 12% that year.
Right.
Well, I know it's a big number. Again, you can only collect an extra 3% revenue.
3%. So what I would say when we talk about tenants is the fact that, go in with the fact that you do have rights, but understand that again, the most important part about a tenant and the landlord is the relationship they have. I know that there are times where the landlord may come to the tenant and say, listen, the cap rate may be 3%, but for me to survive on this building, we need to do this. And I've actually seen people evict tenants purposely to move into the unit because they couldn't afford it. And so they moved into the unit instead of having their own single dwelling.
Yeah.
Right.
And I've seen cases where if the landlord goes to the tenant and states, like I need to move it up $25 a month, and here are the reasons why. If the tenant agrees, signs off on it,
Yeah.
then it will be approved because $25 is definitely not 3%.
That's right.
But just having that little bit of extra to help cover the taxes, like you said, property insurance, if it's mutually agreed upon, put it on paper, you're
That's right.
good to go.
And a lot of that does come down to the tribunal.
Yes.
The tribunal will make a decision, and sometimes they'll allow an increased rent over a 2 or 3 year period as well. And that way, again, the tenant is aware over the next 2 or 3 years what to expect, and then we, let
Absolutely. And again, at the time that we were having this chit chat, things are always subject to change. So like Tim said, always check Service New Brunswick websites, or again, Google Your Rights, New Brunswick, just to stay up to date as things change. Because I believe last podcast we were talking about how things have changed over the 26 years. So again, what we're stating today is good, but always do your best to stay updated on that.
Okay. So let's go off the market for a minute.
Absolutely.
Okay. I have my winter tires on. Do you?
I do.
Good.
It did take me a week and a half to get in. Now they've been on for a couple weeks now. In our line of work, we tend to be a little. We want to jump the gun. We want to get them on. We don't know what the weather's going to hold, and we all know that being a meteorologist, and again, no shame, but it's the only job that you can get wrong and not get fired.
Yeah, it's all look. What I will say is, being a husband, we get many things wrong, and I haven't been fired yet. But
That's another podcast.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, definitely off the market.
Yeah.
What I know about winter tires is this: there are many different types of tires out there. The rating is very important. What you have to understand is that we never, can predict the weather, but what we do know is that having those winter tires may not always help you to the point that, yes, you have to slow down and so forth, but they are definitely beneficial in keeping you safer on the roads.
Absolutely. I mean, a wise man once said to me, and I mean, it sounds so simple, but it's the only thing touching the road.
True. True.
So I've never been a big believer in, buying the lowest end of tires if I can.
Yeah,
I mean, everyone's different. Budgets are tough.
I get it.
But Tim's a big advocate for our team. As
That's right.
soon as, the snow in the forecast or whatever, he's going around, he's personally asking everybody on the team, do you have your tires? Are they in good shape? When are you getting them on? Kind of like a Papa Bear in some place.
No,
But
we need to. We,
yeah,
we, we need to make sure, especially where we're on the road as much as we are. So, winter activities, anything in particular?
winter activities for my home. My daughter's still 10. So, still from last podcast. You know what I mean? Yeah. So yes, we do love to go out. We love to slide. Um, we love every year we go out. We pick our Christmas tree. So that's kind of like a winter activity. Um, you and I in the past have gone indoors. We play pickleball.
That's right.
Just to stay a little active and things like that. So
Yeah.
that's what we love to do during the
Good.
winter.
Good.
What kind of things do your family get into?
You know what? My wife and I play volleyball, which is great. Great bunch, that we play with. You'd mentioned pickleball is always great. Haven't got her into that as of yet. Puzzles, but the big thing is I like to purge. So wintertime, being inside the home, having a little bit of extra time, it's great to be able to start to purge and to make this a segue. If you're thinking about or planning on selling in the spring, why not use the winter as an advantageous time to go out, look in that garage, what don't you need anymore? What's in that basement that can be, removed? And again, it may help you get in the mode of, okay, guess what? Spring cleaning doesn't have to happen in the spring.
Absolutely. Declutter ahead of time.
Yeah,
And we always say when you're listing your home, less is more.
that's right.
So like you said, a perfect opportunity during your downtime, get rid of some useless
Oh,
clutter, maybe make a few bucks on Kijiji.
Yeah. Yeah. So, to everyone out there, I've had the privilege of being on a show, and that's arts and entertainment. There's a show called Oceanfront Property Hunt.
I was home for Wheel of Fortune.
Listen, you know what? Yeah, Van and I, we'll go away someday. Yes, yeah.
But any oceanfront property.
Yeah, Oceanfront Property.
What's that about?
So many people see those shows where there's a realtor and they go look at homes and they choose one, they buy one, and off they go. Well, I've been fortunate enough to be on A&E for a show that is very similar to that. It's being aired Saturday, December 13th at 1 p.m. And this will have already probably been put out, but you can always check online and so forth. And
Absolutely. You can go on the A&E website and you can log into your Bell, your Rogers, or whatnot, and you can watch video on demand.
Sure.
So you'll be able to log in and check out that video.
That's right.
Are we allowed to say the names of the buyers that you're working with?
Yeah, Josh and Kira.
Yeah.
Yeah, Josh and Kira.
So
When you go on, it will say Josh and Kira on there.
going through the TV gas right and online, you'll find it.
Yeah. And it was a unique experience. What I will say is that walking through and trying to be natural with your clients is one thing. When you have a camera following you, it's totally different. And I would say it was a great experience, and I hope some of you will check that out.
So I'm worried, Mr. Clooney.
Yes. Yeah.
We're going to lose you to Hollywood once you're hired from real estate.
Listen, Brad and I have already been in talks.
I know. You guys have
Yeah.
volleyball on Wednesdays together.
Yes, I know. It'll be Ocean's 18, that's for sure. By that time. Yeah, you are.
No, that's fantastic. Well, congratulations for being a part of that, representing not just yourself, but also the team and the fabulous oceanfront properties that we on the East Coast have available to us.
Oh, yes.
Um,
Okay. So let's talk a little bit more back into real estate again.
absolutely.
And so what I'd like to ask you is you had another pun though to your tenants tenants' rights.
Yes. So today we want to focus on tenants' rights. And we were talking about some winter activities. And I know from experience that uh, you used to play a lot of tennis.
Yes.
And so there is a great establishment in Fredericton that you and your daughter would go to and play indoor tennis. So great time. You can play there all year round. There is a facility coming to our areas.
Correct.
Now, it seems you have more information on that than I do.
I do. So if you love tennis, there's the Abney Center, which is named after Lorna Abney, but the Abney Center in Fredericton, and they're fantastic. The staff is great. There always seems to be a court available. A little costly, but definitely a lot of fun. Especially in the winter months. St. John has one that they're very close to finalizing and so forth at the university campus here. So UMBSJ will have that, and we'll have pickleball, and we'll have tennis, and they're working diligently right now to iron out the cracks and so forth, and hopefully we'll
See that in the future.
yeah, and
We should set up a round robin, Team Somerville robin.
my daughter's at UMB Fred, so
Yeah,
actually gives me an excuse to go up and spend some time with her.
absolutely. Play some tennis. Now, we're dressed pretty nice today. For the most part, we usually dress like this. We did a video earlier.
Yeah,
But you were always dressed very nice.
yeah, we try.
And I picture you on the court. Now, do you wear these white shorts and the white polo shirt?
Yeah.
He's got the gray sweater neatly tied around his neck.
No, listen,
You know,
you
is
know,
that you?
yeah.
You're in your tennis white.
No, listen, no tennis whites. Here we go.
You sponsored by Under Armour, Nike.
What I will say is that again, it's just the shorts and the shirt. And let's get to business, right? So it's good.
If you know Tim on a personal level, he said before his three major loves are music, movies, and sports. And he's the type of guy that you could teach him a brand new sport you never even heard of, and he's going to be really good at it. It makes you sick. It's like my wife's good at art, right? She does anything she does artistic. It's just so good. Like you make me sick.
I'm only good because I'm usually competing against you, Michael.
It's a fair point to our listeners.
There is nothing better than watching Michael play pickleball. There's just, yeah, I wish we were filming that.
It's a ride. It's like remember back in the day of Paul.
Yeah.
You know, he was the expert mode, and I was the what am I doing mode. So that's kind of how he.
It was good.
I'm just thinking about getting it over the net.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
thinking 3 moves ahead.
Oh no, I get it.
You'd probably be good at chess too.
Oh, I love chess.
Oh, there you
love chess. Oh yes.
I don't think I could find a thing I can beat you at.
Oh, Connect Four though. That
Connect forward. Oh yeah,
has to do. Yeah. So tell me, why would you list or buy in the winter?
that's a good question. Right now we have a lot less competition.
True.
As of today, it's the 11th of December.
Yeah.
We're starting to see some of our buyers kind of take on other tasks, whether it be Christmas concerts with the kiddies, Christmas shopping, holiday shopping, visiting family. Maybe they're traveling overseas to see a family, things like that. So we're not seeing as many buyers out and about, but we still have a fair amount of listings that are looking to sell.
Sure.
And we still have time not to close at the end of this year, but to close quite early in the new year.
100%.
I would say, January, the weather is still not too bad. Hopefully February is decent for us, but there's always a great time to get out, have a peek, see what's out there. Like I said, there's less competition, which means hopefully less multiple offers
Yes.
on some of these great listings.
And the great thing about that means that sometimes you can actually be ahead of the curve. So if you're going to list now before the spring market, what you'll do is you'll put yourself in front of those listings that are coming. And yes, everybody's grass is greener in the spring, but at the end of the day, knowing that there are still some buyers out there, if you're ahead of the curve on that, it could mean that you're still getting a great price. You're selling within a short period of time. And then, of course, there's the buying side. And knowing that, again, there's not as many buyers as Michael had mentioned, that could put you in a pretty promising position as well.
Now, I mentioned there's a good amount of listings, but we could always use more.
That's right. That's right. And
And
so,
we've had past clients, let's say they've done well for themselves and they're spending their winters maybe down south. Maybe not so much lately, but if your home is vacant and you've got security system and all that good stuff, and you're thinking about selling, well, we can set that up. We can make sure the security code's on at all times once we leave. We can show your home while you're away.
yeah.
Just an opportunity. I'm throwing it out there.
No, and we'd always love to at least discuss the idea of listing with you because this is the time that many people are coming to that conclusion that in the spring they're going to want to sell. So instead of waiting, have us in now. Because by having us in now, what that will do is that will give you the opportunity to hear from us on whether or not we truly believe you have to do anything to the home prior to putting it on the market.
Absolutely. And we get away from that mindset of listing in the spring where you're going to have a lot more competition
Mhm.
and maybe you won't get as many eyes on your property as you're
Right.
hoping for.
Right.
And that's just a tough conversation on both of our
That's right.
parts.
That's right. Another thing I'd like to bring up is the amount of paperwork that we as realtors have to put together,
What paperwork?
and that's on listing and selling. So when you go through this process, please understand that there are so many more documents that need to be signed and acknowledged, not by just one, but everyone
Absolutely.
that is, part of or part of the assessment that we see when we're listing a home. When you're buying the same thing, anybody that is going to be on the mortgage will need to have the same document signed, and there are many items. So
Absolutely. And it's not just documents that accompany the transaction,
that's
the
right.
house and things like that.
That's right.
We have federally regulated paperwork that
Mhm.
you'll never see, but it's on our end. Something as simple as we have to properly identify you.
That's right.
That's a simple thing. We make sure you are who you say you are when you buy this property, but there's also some other federally regulated paperwork that requires us a few intrusive questions.
That's right.
And that is just to, well, I'll just say to get around any possible money laundering. I don't want to
That's right.
accuse anybody of anything or anything like that, but that is something that we see in our career. Is something that we have to document if we see anything suspicious.
That's
Not that that's you,
Oh no.
but if we do ask you some questions, we can show you this is a federal
Yeah.
document
That's
they
right.
are required to fill out.
But the other thing about paperwork is that there are so many levels of realtors out there, from experienced to knowledgeable to being new. But one thing I know is that when you hire a realtor or a team of realtors to assist you, what you need to understand is that those documents have to be filled out correctly. And, the professionalism that Team Somerville offers when we are filling out the documents and making sure that we do them as close to perfect as possible. Because then we're not coming back to you and saying, guess what, we missed in an initial, or guess what, we missed this or that. And at the end of the day, that can become quite cumbersome. And so at the end of the day, I wouldn't want to say that 5 times.
No.
But anyway, it would become quite cumbersome. And so we do our best to make sure that we have that covered from the get go.
Even a simple digit
No,
can make a huge difference. It just real quick reminds me of a story happened down south to our neighbors in the U.S. where a gentleman was buying a plot of land, but it turns out he bought the whole suburb
wow.
for
The whole
$10,000.
really.
And so the city's asking for it back, but legally he owns it. So he owns your house, your house, your house, and all he wanted was the parcel of land to build
Oh,
his home on. So
yeah.
just that the wrong digit can
Oh,
make the world of difference.
and you bring up land.
Not always in your favor.
No, but you bring up land. A lot of times there's more than one parcel of land. So you have to make sure when you're filling out the documentation that you have all proper PID numbers, making sure that it's associated with the sale.
Absolutely. And we've seen that. Maybe the listing agent made a small error, forgot to add that PID
Yes.
when they were, filling out the paperwork and whatnot. We've got to closing day,
That's
and
right.
lawyers have said, pump the brakes. We found something that
Mhm.
got overlooked.
And one thing that we should mention this time of year, and you had commented about sales happening where now we're looking into the new year. The one thing you have to understand is that everybody in this profession, when it comes to realtors, to lawyers, to brokers, they're still human beings. So they are going to take time, whether or not it's just over holidays or they are going down south or wherever. One thing you have to understand that when you do put a deal together, make sure everybody that is working on your behalf that they're going to be here. So if you have a lawyer in mind, make sure that lawyer is going to be working within the time frame you put on the closing date. We at Team Somerville will always have somebody here, but at the end of the day, it's something to keep in mind.
Again, that's just a quick phone call.
And it's
Mr. or Mrs. Lawyer, are you working December 23rd?
Sounds great. So other than that, I think we can wrap up episode number 3.
At number 3, I'm looking forward to the next time we get to sit down and chit chat.
That's right.
I'm sure we'll be talking about the new year.
Yes.
Sounds like a plan.
That will be great. So until our next podcast, thank you to all of you who've taken time out to listen to us. And again, any real estate matters, we'd love to hear from you.
Again, thank you from everyone at Team Somerville. This is Off the Market.